Welcome to the Frugal Frau. I'm Suki, your host, and today we have a really fun project, my kind of project, the kind of project I really like to do because I love artsy things and I love folk art. And so I have before me here a German antique cabinet, and which I got overseas when I lived there in the military and brought it back. And now we've installed it in what used to be a bedroom in this house we bought a few years ago, and we decided to turn it into a bathroom. We had to do a lot of renovation first because the house had a lot of damage. It had ant damage, it had some water damage. We've repaired all that, stripped things, went down to the studs, and so we've been kind of camping out in the house as we do this. So now we're ready to start putting the final touches on what's going to be a nice bathroom. So my husband put this cabinet in here. It's not really built in. He made it to look like it's built in. So if we ever leave, we can take it with us. And he made a cabinet that's simply sitting on top of it, attached to the ceiling and the back, just so it doesn't slip around. And he made it so that it would be, make one big monolithic cabinet, so I don't have this space up here. Because you know what happens with spaces on top of cabinets? They get dusty and you have to dust them. Well, I don't want to have to dust anything that I don't need to. Plus, the extra storage is always a bonus. So, what I want to do in this little space is evoke some of the folk art that's on the original cabinet. And I probably will take some design elements directly from this. And then I would also probably going to make a little modification for a center design, because I like this center design, but that's obviously going to be too big and too wide of a design for this very narrow space. So I have to design it to really work in a very, very narrow space. So the first thing I need to do is I need to measure it. So I measure the width, the length, and I did do this carefully before. I copied that down, and then I started doodling designs in my sketchbook, not really concerned about the final design, but just get some ideas. And then I also studied this a bit and decided which design elements I want to take directly from this to put in that little tiny small space. Okay, I have my final drawing, and I've taken it up to my window and I've traced it evenly to the other side by folding the paper and then tracing through. After I darkened the lines on one side to make the tracing easier, then I simply took a marker and darkened the other sides. Now, this piece of paper is exactly half the length of the area that I intend to paint. This is the center, this is the top, and then when I flip it over, the center and the bottom. So you can see you didn't need to put a whole lot of detail for a folk art motif. I just did simple lines, and I'm going to paint simple lines first. And if I need any kind of fill, like a little mark like that, or like this, I will add those after the fact. And when I go to put the center in, I'm not going to trace this center onto the center of the actual piece of paneling that I'm painting on, because I may have to adjust that center ever so slightly to be right in between the two, because they may not line up exactly. But that's not a problem because I've left a little space so that I have a little bit of wiggle room. So it might be a little bit closer, it might be a little bit further, but I will make it work. I've taken this little cross-hatched semicircle design. I've taken these little flowery things, and then I took this from my original sketch and I just modified it to be a design that would fit the space better and fill it up, and we'll see what happens. I think it'll just be, I'll just take a yellow color like this and do it all monochromatic, and I just need to transfer it on there. So we'll do that in a little bit. All right, I have my final design. I'm happy with it. I had placed it up here just to make sure. I really was pleased with it. Kept it taped up for a couple of days and okay, I'm good with it. So I'm putting my carbon. It's sewing carbon, non-wax. And I've taped each end of the carbon because it likes to rip if you have tape on it. So I put the tape here so that when I pull this tape off, I actually don't rip the carbon and it keeps it relatively flat. And then all I have to do is tape my design up here and start tracing. Okay, I'm ready to go. So once again, I take my red pen so I know where I've been and I just start tracing, and not my favorite angle to trace in, but can't be helped. I see I'm getting help. My cat just jumped up here on the counter. But that's okay. It's Findus, Mr. Findus. Hey, Mr. Findus. Cats have a way of helping us. Good kitty. I'm using a red pen to go over this, although frankly the pen's running, not wanting to ink at this angle. But it's a fairly simple design, so it's easy to keep track of where I am, so I'm not too worried about it, just as long as I press firmly enough to transfer the design. I'm not going to do the exact center. There's a little round or half round part of my design. I'm going to leave that to the end and freehand that so that I get it perfectly in the center when I have the final design. There, it's all traced and I'm ready to pull the paper off. I always use painter's tape for this because it's easy to remove if you remove it fairly soon after you tape it up there. And there, my design is transferred and the lines look a little squiggly and everything because of the grain of the wood is distorting the lines a little bit, but that's okay. I'll fix that when I paint it. And when I paint it, I'm going to have to lock Mr. Kitty out because Mr. Findus Kitty has a habit of stepping in pallets. And you know what happens when a cat steps in a pallet and then walks all over things? Well, I think you get the picture. And then the cross hatches in these sort of half circles, I left them out. I'll do them freehand. I've done enough of that kind of thing that I don't need to draw every single little line. Anyways, this is done. So let's carefully pull it off. Oh, looks like I missed one, but you know what? I'm just quickly scratch it on there. No worries. Because if you put the piece of paper up there all over again, you're not gonna probably line it up exactly, but that's good enough. It serves as a guide. Because like I said, this is just going to be a very stroked type of pattern. It's not really going to be a fill in the lines like a coloring book pattern. Anyways, so I'm real happy with that, and I'll see you when I get started painting. Okay, now for the final fun part, I get to paint. So remember, I said I was just going to use fairly simple strokes. Stroke up, stroke down. I'm trying to do each little line with a single stroke, and but not be it too blobby either. Stroke, stroke, stroke. And if you have not done this before, just practice doing those single strokes on paper or something you can throw away, because you just have to get brave enough to do it. It's easy, but it's a matter of confidence. Just know that you can do this, and know that you're not going for this perfect look. My little circles weren't perfect, but I'll darken them out there. And one there and one there. When I'm doing these curves, I often take a couple little strokes because I need to change the angle of my brush so that I'm getting the point where I want it. And again, a little spot like here, I got a little close to this leaf motif. And when I'm done, and this is dry, I'm going to come in with the same blue color on a tiny little brush, and I'm just going to fix that. Just like I'm going to fix this space up here. So again, I'm not too concerned that, well, I goofed up a bit. It's okay. But remember how I said I was going to adjust my center at the end? This is why I got a little close right there, but there you go. There, now I have center. I originally had cross hatches in that design, but that center is too small to put those in now, so I'll just leave them out. All right, you can see we've finished our bathroom mirror. This is a 3-part trim, and I have taken still photos, which I will insert into the video for you to see how that was accomplished. And then at the corners, instead of doing mitered corners, we put in 4 pine cone blocks, and these were hand carved. Now I want to say that I wanted to hand carve those myself, and I did carve 4, and they were the first time I've ever done any wood carving, and they weren't very good. So my husband took it upon himself to quickly carve these 4 because he was about 5 times faster at it than I was. Oh well, so that's okay. So it's all done. We have the sinks in, we have this in, we have cabinets built, the cabinet doors built, and the door handles, which are down here. And then we also have drawer handles. And if you'd like, we can show you in another video how we make our door handles and how we color them with this nice, rich, deep, charcoaly brown color. It's actually almost the identical color, which is just by accident, to these bronzed bathroom fixtures here, these faucets. So that's this part of the project. Now, we still have other parts of this bathroom to finish, namely the doors that go above the cabinet here, and we are going to make a separate video on that because we are going to attempt to duplicate these very old doors that are on this particular cabinet. And so we need to study those a bit more and figure out how to do that. But that will be a separate video. Anyways, so I just wanted to show you, ta-da, the completed mirror, because it was a little project all by itself. So we're happy with the way it turned out. It's rustic because we do everything with hand tools, but that's the look that we like to do, and we endeavor to use hand tools for almost everything because we don't want to use electric power tools. We are pretty much old school in many things we do, and that includes our woodworking. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe and comment. So thank you again, and have a great day wherever you are.